Hey, hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Build Skills with Rahul. I hope you all are doing good and you are all excited for this new episode. Let's see what we have in store for today. But before going into the skill development process, uh, just a small hi to everyone. And if you guys can tell me in the chat if you can hear me well, that would be great, because if you remember last time we had some audio issues. So before we start, I just want to make sure that we don't have any audio issues this time. So yeah, just write down the chat and let me know. Hey startup Sanatan, good to see you here. You're there in every Alexa stream. It's nice. Thank you. So I think it's all good, and we can proceed with the development. So last time what we did, first of all, let me just change the screen to welcome. Yes, so last time what we did was we built a basic Alexa skill using Python, in which we defined a lot of handlers, and we handled all the requests that were coming in and created a suitable response for them. This time what we'll be doing is I'll be introducing you to another concept which is called interceptors, and we'll be seeing how interceptors can be useful in our skill, and how it can make a lot of our work easier and better. So the first thing that we'll be using interceptors for is localization. So let me just get you straight into it. So to get started, let's open up our Alexa developer console. The good news is that today I have source code available for you. So if any one of you would like to try out the skill with me, you can do it straight away. Or even if you're watching it on a later time, so you can find all the links in the description of this video, and you can just go ahead and just follow the same steps that I'm doing here. So all right, let me just go there. Wait. Okay. So we start by creating a skill. So the first skill that we are creating is called the basic starter template. If you guys know about skilltemplates.com and Dabble Lab skill templates, then you might have seen the skill template before. Previously, it was only available for Node.js, but we now have another version for Python. So if you are a Python developer, then you can use this template and start building skills. So let's just name it template 1, and the language we'll be choosing is English US, and we'll be using Alexa hosted Python as our endpoint. So let's just go ahead and click on create skill. Now here comes the catch. Usually what we do is we simply start from scratch and go ahead with the hello world skill, which we try and modify according to our needs. But rather what we'll be doing today is we'll be simply importing our skill code from our GitHub repo. So I'll quickly go and copy the GitHub repo URL. Even you can do that. It's in down in the description below. So just go there and copy the first link for the basic starter template. Hmm. So I've copied it. Let me just paste it here and click on import. What this does is it simply copies, it clones the GitHub repo and creates a skill right here using Alexa hosted backend and the skill kit for the interaction model, and you don't have to do anything. Everything is populated on its own. So let's just wait for a few minutes while it is being done. Meanwhile it's happening, let me go through and see if we have any chats coming in. No chats, that makes me really sad, but I think you guys are not interested in speaking to me, so we'll just stick to the point and to the development process. Anytime during the process, if you have any questions, then feel free to ask us the questions right here. I am here to answer them, and Sohini is there in the chat, so we'll be happy to assist you. So now the model is built. So as you can see, in the interaction model, we have 10 different intents, and we didn't define even a single intent, but as it was there in our skill repo, so everything got cloned here. So we'll go to the code section. And this is just a basic overview of the code. I'll not get deep into it. What I'll do is I'll quickly run a small test to see if everything is working fine. Right now things should not be working fine because we haven't actually changed the name of the environment variable file, but let's see.
The environment for this skill is not properly configured. Most likely, you just need to rename the example.env file to just .env. Please see the README file for help.
So this is happening because you can see we have a example.env file here. This is because if I directly name it .env, then this file becomes hidden and you can't actually make any changes to this file. So for that reason, I have to actually name it example.env, and when you get this file, you simply rename it to .env. So what this does is it creates a new file called the environment variables file, and this is useful when you're storing things like API keys and other stuff. Then you use this environment variable file to store all of them. So moving on, what we'll be seeing today is not all of this, because I guess going explaining each and every aspect of it will not be the best use of our time. So we'll stick to what we are here for, which is the localization part of it. So generally what happens is that you define your responses right here in the skill. So for example, if I have a speech output where I have to say just for example, let's take their launch request handler, right? So if you were to just reply through the launch request handler, what you can simply do is you can just change the speech output to hello world or something. So this is how a basic speech output is generally defined in a skill. That's the process that even I have used for a couple of years. Yeah, actually a couple of years I've used this particular approach. But right now there is a new approach available which is actually much better than this one, and which can actually save a lot of time when you're trying to make a multilingual skill. I'll simply just show you how. So for this, what we've done is we've created a new folder which is called the languages folder, and inside the folder, as you can see, we have two files which are the enus.json and the en.json. So I'll quickly open up both the files and show you. So as you can see, so this is a JSON file which contains different variables, you can say, key value pairs. So where the key name, the skill name is this, the greeting is a list, and so on. So what we'll be doing is we'll actually be using this file to fetch our responses. So I'll show you one particular instance of how it is done. So for example, if you see here, in the invalid config handler, or yeah, this is the invalid config handler. You remember the first message that we got, that our environment variables are not defined properly. That is because of this. So if you can see, that what we have done here is we've defined a variable called language prompts, and to this we have assigned something named request attributes, and the value part is underscore. I'll show you where it is fetching the values from, but once this is done, what you simply have to do is just define the key and the value is fetched from here. So let's go down and see what's actually happening here. So we go down to the localization interceptor. If you see, this is our localization interceptor. What's happening here is that we get an abstract request interceptor object, as we pass it as the input, and thereafter what we do is from the handler input we try and identify the locale, which you can find inside the request envelope, request and locale. So with each request you actually get the locale. So we have identified the locale through this. Okay, startup Sanatan says kindly increase the audio volume. uh, I'll try and do that, but the last time I did that my voice was actually cracking, so that is the reason I've kept it down this time. But let me see if I can change it. Well, I'll try and speak louder if that helps. So I'll try and shout like Arnab Goswami does, and let's see if that is something which works. Okay, so coming back to the code again, what we are going to do is, as you can see here, that we have identified the locale. So the locale would look something like en hyphen us or hyphen in, based on the country that you are in. It can even be en hyphen gb if you are in, say, UK or Great Britain. So this is what the value of locale will resolve to, and uh, we're simply just printing out that value here. This is where the interesting part comes in. This try and accept block right here, what this does is that we have defined, as I told you before, we have defined a languages folder. So what it does is, inside the languages folder, it looks for a file named after the locale followed by .json. So if the locale is en-us, then it looks for a file called en-us.json and loads it inside loads it in this variable as JSON, using this small command called json.load. What this does is it takes all the information in JSON format and converts it into a dictionary, you can say, for Lambda, for Python, so that you can easily access it inside your skill. So you also need to see this except part here, and this is because you see there is another file called en. So we have done this to just to handle any errors or any discrepancies that occur, So what will happen is, if this skill, for example, if you are in English in locale and this locale sends you in, and it tries to look for that particular locale, the request would fail. It would fail because there is no .json file with us here. So what we need to do is, we'll need to create a new file here, but in case somebody forgets to do that, so we have a file called en, which you can say is a default file for the English language, and irrespective of the region, if the first two letters of the locale are en, then it would default to this particular file and take the responses from here. So simply, as you can see, that in the end what it does is it populates the request attributes with the key underscore with language prompts. Now this might look a bit tricky, but it's actually pretty straightforward. So if you don't know about request attributes, so there are basically three kinds of skill attributes. The first one is request attributes, the second one is session attributes, and the third one is persistent attributes. I won't go into details about the other two, but what request attributes does is that it populates attributes at the time of a particular intent, when a particular intent is being called. So these attributes stay in the system just for one particular request. So when a request comes, these attributes can be populated. As soon as the response is built, these attributes are gone. So yeah, you can say there are the most, like, they are temporary and they only last for one response and request and response cycle. So after we've done this, we simply just need to add our localization interceptor, which is already done here. And since all of that is done, so we see the results, but we've already seen the results, right? So once we've changed this file, if I just simply go ahead and run this again, what you'll see is that it will ask for my name.
The environment for this skill is not properly
I
configured.
think I
Most
haven't
likely,
deployed
you
it.
just need to rename the example.env file to just .env. Please see the README file for help.
So once it deploys, in the next step, what we'll be doing is, right now it supports English US region. We'll be adding support for English India region, and I'll be showing you how it can be useful for you. So yeah, the skill is now deployed. Let's try and run it again, and I hope it doesn't give me any errors.
Welcome to the Dabble Lab Starter template. You can tell me your name or say learn more to learn more about this skill.
So as you can see, it gave me the input. Now I can either continue the interaction by telling it my name or learn more, but I won't get into that, and I'll straight away go into the localization part. So if we go to this file, the enus.json, you can see that there are several greetings that we have. So what we'll do is we'll simply go to the greeting that we just heard, which is the launch greeting, and we'll see where it is fetching it from. So I guess since it does not have the username, it is fetching the greeting from here. Let me just see. Welcome to Dabble Lab starter template, right? So yeah, it is greeting unknown user. No, yeah, this one is greeting unknown user. So see, I'll tell you where the use of a localization interceptor comes in. So if you have just an English skill, so this might not sound that interesting. But for example, if you have a multilingual skill where you have English, Spanish, Hindi, or several languages in one skill, then it is not an ideal process to keep all of those utterances, responses in your code itself. So the first part is to separate out all of those responses from the code. Once that is done, uh, you need to have separate files for each region for better accessibility, so that if you have a language translator working on a file, then they can directly work on a file without worrying about fiddling with the code and all of that, and make the changes, give that file to you, and you can simply integrate it. Also, if you want to have different responses for people of different regions, like for example, if someone is from the US, then you would like to greet them as hey there, hello there, like that. But if someone is from India, you might want to greet them as with a namaste and say namaste, how are you? So that is what I'll try and show you here. So the first step for this would be creating a new file inside this folder. So I'll just go here and create a new file. I'll name this file in.json. Once this file is created, what we'll do, I'll simply copy all the content from this file and simply paste it here. And what we'll do is, as I told you before, instead of welcome to this, I'll keep this welcome to this, and after this just say namaste dear Indian user, right? So we've made a change, we've made this separate file, and what we now need to do is just add this to our model right here. Actually not here, because it will automatically pick it from here. What we need to do is go to our build model. We'll need to clone our current interaction model, which is only available in English US. So just by clicking on the language settings, we arrive at this page, and we'll click on clone, and we'll clone it for English India, as you can see here. So let's just simply clone it. And while it is cloning, uh, those of you who are new to this, please leave a comment in the chat if you like the stream. Even if you don't like the stream, just feel free to provide your feedback. That is how we learn, and we'll try and improve the experience for the next time. And if you're here, make sure to like the stream, and if you don't like it, then feel free to dislike the stream, but just express your opinion. So I think this shouldn't take more than a minute or so. And while this is being created, yeah, this is done. Let me just go back to the skill folder and see if we need to make any changes to the code. I think we don't need to make any changes here, because what this thing will do is when we are accessing the skill from English India, it will pass on the locale as ENIN, and automatically this particular file will be picked. So yeah, now our interaction model is done. So let's go back to the test tab and try it out. So let's change the language from English US to English India and say open template 1.
Do you mean step 1 sample questions?
Uh,
Do you mean step 1 sample questions?
I don't know why this is happening now, but looks interesting. Let's see. I think I'll simply go save and build the model again, but this shouldn't actually make a difference. Since we don't need to actually add anything to the code, this should have been picked up automatically. That's strange, but that's how programming works. Strange things happen. No worries. Let us just wait once the model is built. I hope after this model is built, this issue will be resolved. Meanwhile, let me just see if the stream is working well. Looks good to me. So the full build is now successful. Let me just go to the test tab. Oh, let me just check the invocation name. Oh, it's the same.
Do you mean step 1 sample questions?
Welcome to the Dabble Lab Starter Template. You can tell me your name or say learn more to learn more about this skill.
This is actually quite strange. This shouldn't ideally happen because once you have added a region, it should work. But I don't know. For some reason, this isn't happening. Let me try and change the invocation name and call it demo skill instead. Let's see, we have it here. We have the interaction model, we have all the intents, and we have the code. Our endpoints remain the same. The build is now successful. Our invocation name was demo skill. Let's go to the test tab again.
I can't find that skill. To find skills, please go to the skills section of the Alexa app.
Quite strange, but I don't think there is
Welcome to the Dabble Lab Starter Template.
magic.
You can tell me your name or say learn more to learn more about this skill.
Let me now just refresh it again and try it out. Oh, I just wrote open 2 times.
Welcome to the Dabble Lab Starter Template. You can tell me your name or say learn more to learn more about this skill.
Okay, so as you can see, we are not actually getting the response that we declared here, right? Instead, we are getting, I think we are getting something from this, the default folder. So let's go ahead and see what's creating the problem. I'll go to the code and I'll try and print the locale actually. The locale is already being logged, so let's just go to the logs and see. Hey Stuart. So since you just joined, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to add a localization interceptor for different regions. What that is going to do is, uh, suppose we have an interaction model for India and for US, both for English. So we can give different responses to a user based on the region they are from. So that's what we are trying to do today. I hope you enjoy the stream. And logs are always tricky. Let me see. So ideally we should have the locale printed in the log somewhere. See, the locale is printed as ENIN. I don't see any issue with the locale. Oh, I guess the issue, I'm not able to completely figure out what's causing the issue, but I think the locale is clearly printed here, as we can see. So let's try and print the language prompts and see if it gets printed. Let's see.
Welcome to the Dabble Lab Starter template. Namaste, dear Indian user.
So as you can see, now it somehow magically ran. It's all in front of you. I did not change anything apart from just adding this print statement, which I actually did right now. So I'm pretty sure this did not make any changes, but I guess it was just about time. You just give it some time and it starts to work the correct way. So yeah, in the same manner, you can just go ahead and add any file. This example is for English, but in the same manner you can add localization files for any language of your choice, and this skill will pick the language based on the user's locale and reply according to that particular response. If you are new to interceptors, so before we move on to the next topic, I would just like to tell you a small thing about interceptors. So you saw handlers the other day. So what handlers do is a request comes and a handler handles the whole request. It processes it accordingly and generates a response. What an interceptor does is it intercepts a request before it actually reaches the handler, and once the handler builds a response, you can again intercept that request, and before passing it on to the Alexa skill kit or the Alexa device, you can again make some changes if you want to. So this is the localization interceptor, which does this specially for language prompts, and it just loads the correct language prompts based on the user's locale. Similarly, we also have two other request and response loggers. Basically these are also interceptors. What they do is simple, that any request that comes in and the response that goes out, they just log it. So Startup Sanatan says, how about asking the user about the locale and dynamically changing as per that? That's a nice idea. That can also be done, because once you get an input from the user, you can actually do some add a small logic to your code and change the response based on that. But I think that can be a bit troublesome, because the user can say any language then. But yeah, you can always do it for some languages. Like for example, if you want to add any language like Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, or any other regional language of India, I think you can do that, but it will work only for a limited set of features. But that's a nice idea. I actually like that. For some particular use cases, I think you can uh, ask it from a user as a one time thing, that what language would you like to the response to be in, and the user can choose a particular language, and every time you can simply pick from that particular file. Yeah, because Indians can be there in the USA and vice versa. That's a very fair point. So I think that can be done, and that's a very nice use case. So yes, this is how a localization interceptor works, and you can also, please check out the entire skill. This template is basically a starter template, which you can use when building any kind of skill. Like just take it as if you want to start building a skill, this can be the most robust starting point for you, because this contains all the error handling elements, all the interceptors, the logging functionality. It has all the files in the right place. So I think, yeah, this can be a good starting point anytime you want to start a skill. This also, by the way, makes use of the S3 adapter for persistence attributes, but I won't be talking about them today. Let's just keep persistent attributes for some other day. The second thing that I wanted to talk about today is API calling, is basically calling remote APIs from an Alexa skill, which is a use case that a lot of people actually require. So let me just close all of this and go back to our skills. Again, we'll be creating a new skill, and this skill will be called template 2. The language will be set as English US, and the backend will be Alexa hosted in Python. Again, what we'll be using here is our GitHub repo. So I'll once again copy the repo URL from the description and just paste it here. I really like this method actually. I wasn't aware of this before, and since the time I have come across this import skill functionality, I find it very useful, because when you are actually rebuilding skills again and again, so using some of your previous work, people usually, developers host them on GitHub. So this is a very good way by which you can share your skill code, and anyone can, including you yourself, can easily reuse the code with just a few clicks. Otherwise, what we had to do before is clone each and everything, copy the backend and paste it and do all of that. But now this has created a lot of ease of access. And also, while this is being loaded, do check out skilltemplates.com, which actually improves this experience even further. On skilltemplates.com, we have a wide variety of templates available for you, which you can install in just a single click. So you don't need to do much here. All you need to do is just create an account on either skilltemplates.com, or you can also go to dabblelab.com/templates. Oh, sorry. So even here you can find all of our skill templates. Right now all these skill templates are only for Node.js, but we are working on adding Python templates, and as you can see, two of the templates I'm sharing with you today, and they'll be on our website soon. And hopefully you should be expecting more templates in the days to come by. So our interaction model is completely built. Let's simply go ahead and test out the template, what it does. So I'll simply write open template 2.
There are currently 7 astronauts in space. Their names are Sergei Ryvikov, Kate Rubins, Sergei Kudzverchkov, Mike Hopkins, Victor Glover, Shannon Walker, and Soichi Noguchi.
So as you can see, as soon as we invoked the skill, it started, it gave us this message that there are 7 astronauts in space, and it gave out all their names. So all this information is being fetched from an API in real time. So you can see the API here. This is the API that we are actually using in our code, and this is the data that we get, and we are processing it in our backend code, and creating an appropriate speech response. So I'll show you what all elements you require to make this. So let's go to our code. And this code is not as robust or fancy as the previous one. So the basic starter template actually contains a lot of things, but this particular code is only to show you how an API, a remote API can be called from a skill. So the real magic is done at this point. If you're creating a skill, if you are also a developer and you're creating a skill using Alexa hosted endpoints, just make sure that you add the request library to the requirements, because if you don't do that, then there is a chance that your skill would not run and cause errors. So once you've done that, and you've imported the request library here, all you need to do is just call the request a method, the get method of the request library, and pass on this URL. So as we have passed on this URL here, it fetches all the data from that URL, and you can, if you want, you can just do a small print here and see all of that data. What we are doing is we are loading that data uh, into a dictionary format. Right now it is in JSON format, so we just load it so that we can easily access it inside our code, and then we have formatted our whole response accordingly. So you can see here that the first line, there are currently dash astronauts in space. So we are simply taking the length of the entire people object, and the length in this particular case was 7, so it just spoke out that there are 7 people in space. And then this is just some small logic that when it's the first name, then what it has to do, it has to append a line which says their names are, followed by the first name and a comma. And then if it is the last name, then it has to end it with and the last name. And if it's not the first or the last name, which means it's the middle name, then it simply keeps on adding the names separated by a comma. That's what simply happening here. And once you've followed all these steps, then you can call an API, and see see the results right here. Startup Sanatan says, just curious to know like what locale is for users who are there in the space station. That's a good question, but I think they won't be having any the fancy locale as you might imagine. It depends upon their internet region, and actually the locale simply depends upon what you set in your app. So but nice pun. Yeah, it's good to it's a good question to have, like what's the locale of the people living in the space station. So yeah, this is a simple demonstration of how an API works. I guess this would be all that I had planned today. I thought that we'll have some interaction with the chat in between, but except for Startup Sanatan, everyone else seems to be pretty quiet today. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to just post them right now. We have time. I can interact with you guys and answer your questions. I'll wait for a 1 or 2 minutes to see if you guys have any questions. If not, then we'll close this session for today, and meet again next week. So right now the sessions are actually very basic, because I wanted to start from the very start from scratch as a new developer would do. But slowly and steadily we'll be increasing our pace, and maybe in the next session I'll try and cover a more complex template. So do use them, and let us know your experience about experience using the skill templates, and if there is any way that we can improve those templates, because we are all ears when it comes to feedback. And since it's a new platform we are building, we'll be improving it every now and then. Uh-huh. Yeah, Startup Sanatan says it's a real-time problem as well. Because not all astronauts are from USA. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Startup Sanatan. I was just trying to say that, it in a locale for, say, for example, a browser would depend upon, the internet provider or the region of the internet. And in Alexa's case, the region would actually depend upon what the user has set on their device, or like in the simulator, the region depends upon what we choose from here. It doesn't depend which area we are in. So I could have been in Spain and I can use English US, or I can be in India and I can use English GB, for Great Britain. So it all actually doesn't make much of a difference, in terms of where the user actually is. And this is the actual reason that people are able to use Alexa skills, not just from, the countries in which they are available in. People are able to use Alexa devices across the globe. They've bought it from countries in which they are available, and they've taken it, you know to places like Uganda and other countries where Alexa is not officially launched. So yeah, I think that's how the locale thing works. But always happy to hear from you guys. It's your questions that actually make us think, and come up with some new thoughts, or clarifies things for others as well. So keep asking all of these questions. And I think that's all we had for today. I really enjoyed this stream. If you guys had a fun time, then do let me know in the chat section below, and you can also follow me on Twitter. So I'll simply open up my Twitter profile right here. So if you guys want to follow me, my handle is at the rate Rahul Yadav 360, which is this. So yeah, feel free to follow me and ask me any questions. You can DM me or just tag me in a tweet, and I'll be happy to answer. Thanks a lot for joining in. That would be all for today. Goodbye.